Good morning. It's so funny, so I can't milk Maybell the same way I milk Millie because, as you just saw, she lays down. I'm still having a lot of trouble with that. We actually have a farrier that's gonna come and trim her hoofs, and hoping that maybe that will help, but she's my stubborn one, that's for sure. I got out a little later to milk in today, so got a good decent amount of milk in here. Let's go inside, strain it, make some coffee. We're gonna be harvesting some tomatoes today, preserving in the kitchen, which I'm really excited about. So let's go make some coffee.
Mama.
Yeah.
Where is the white one?
It's in there, we doctored it.
I don't see a puppy cup. You mean this one?
Did you find it, Char?
Yeah, Charlie.
There's still one more out there, babe.
We can't find it.
It was in the goat yard with me when I was milking.
That's not in there. Charlie.
Maybe look in the front yard?
I already did. Charlie, come look under the house. Is this one the girl or a boy that I'm holding on the scale? That one's a boy. Go to the white one, the boy. No.
All right, friends, we've made it out into the sweaty tunnel. This was kind of our main project for the day because next week we are like 102, 103 plus, and so it's just way too hot to be outside for long periods of time. So today it's only in the, what, 90s? So I knew I wanted to get out here today and just pick as much as I could because I knew I was going to be in the house more this week, and that would give me an opportunity to put some of these things up. So we've got a ton of peppers. I'm going to be fermenting those little bitty jigsaw peppers, which we'll harvest in a second. I'm going to be making pepperoncinis out of the Sugar Rush peach, and then again we are doing canned. I wanted to freeze dry a bunch of the cherry tomatoes, but we learned our freeze dryer out. One of our friends has a freeze drying business, and they are freeze dryers in the shop right now. So let's get busy. Let's harvest some stuff. So we actually found the beginning of spring some random peppers sprouting in the beds, and we ended up transplanting them and putting them in the greenhouse, and we're like, well, whatever they are, we'll feel good about it. And they ended up being these bell peppers, and so I just now got the first decent harvest. The great thing about bell peppers, you can harvest them when they're green or red. Nathan's making a roast, and so I harvested a bunch of carrots this week too. Just kind of surprise carrots I didn't realize I had. So some carrots in the roast. These bell peppers I think will be really good. Even if we don't throw it in the roast, we're doing a salad. So we're gonna use spinach, those golden sweet grapes, and avocado. So this will be nice. But those jigsaw peppers, I'm a fan of. All right, everyone, happy afternoon. It is the following day because we ended up getting home late last night, and by the time we had to do dinner prep, all the fun stuff, I was not in a place to be canning tomatoes, and I'm not in a place today either, as we are moving into the new week and I have a few deadlines here that need to get done. So I'm going to share with you guys one of my favorite ways to preserve tomatoes, because it's so great, especially if you have a homestead and a garden and you also work outside of that homestead. For many years, I worked outside of our farm. I worked at a hospital where I worked long 12-hour shifts. I worked as doing accounting, where I worked, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of thing. And so I had to find ways that I could just incorporate homesteading, preserving into my lifestyle. And I found that what I could do is I could get off work and I could go and I could harvest some tomatoes, but I didn't, wasn't really in a place to be able to start canning late at night by the time I got done with all my mom duties. And so I learned about freezing tomatoes, and I loved it because it was so simple. And what it would do is it would buy me time. So I would freeze a bunch, or I would freeze, just a few as I got them. And then when I had enough, I could spend a day on the weekend, or maybe some sort of holiday weekend, and then I could actually do something with it. So since this week is a really busy week for me as far as deadlines, I'm actually going to be freezing these tomatoes, and then this weekend I'm going to can them when I have a little bit more time freedom. So what you need for this is just your tomatoes. You guys were with me when I harvested all of them. And you're going to need freezer safe baggies. We like to use the stasher bags, which are reusable plastic bags. I find that when I am preserving food though, I like just the plastic baggies because they work better when it comes to freezing and then re-thawing out. So there's a few ways you can do this, but you can do this with any sort of tomato. You can do it with the cherry tomato. You can do it with your large slicers, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to be throwing all of these just in different ones because I'm going to be dicing all of these up and making diced tomato. One of the things I like to do though is right here you see the top of this tomato. I do like to go ahead and just remove the stem. Now you could go through on your large slicers and core them depending on how you want to preserve them. I know that I'm wanting to make diced tomatoes, so I'm going to have to go through and spend quite a bit of time cutting all this up. So it's not really worth it for me because right now this is kind of about convenience. How do I make sure my tomatoes don't start, leaking juice all over my table? My goal is just get them off of the counter and get them into the freezer. So I'm not going to worry about coring these at all. I've just got a little discard bowl. I'm just literally popping the tops off of these, and that's it. They're going to go from here. You can wash them, which is actually recommended. Wash and dry them, which is I'll probably do. Just run through the sink real quick. And then we're just going to start filling our baggies with all of these. So I think I'm going to start with the cherry tomatoes first. One of the biggest questions, I feel like I've talked about freezing your tomatoes before. They'll last for about a year. Usually what I'll do is around this time of year, we're all swimming in tomatoes, right? And so I just try to buy myself some time when I'm still fermenting pickles. And usually we always have green beans this time of year, and I'm putting up so much that I know tomatoes are one of those things I can quickly and easily throw in a baggie, throw into the freezer, and then come the winter is when I'll start preserving them all. And so after 6 months or something, I think the flavor starts to go down a little bit, but they will last up until a year, which gives you quite a bit of time. So if you are drowning in produce and you have so much abundance right now on your homestead, just freeze these bad boys and then do something with them even in just a few months, October, November, things will start slowing down a bit and you'll probably have a little bit more freedom. But I like to put mine in just a single layer. The big thing is when you can do this with a vacuum sealer as well. That's a little more work in my opinion, but just make sure you get all of the air out. That's really kind of the key on them lasting for a long time, especially if you think you're gonna have them in the freezer for up to a year. But I like to do them in a single layer. That way I can stack the bags really easily in the freezer as well. All right. There we have it. Heading into the freezer. We had a couple bad ones. Some I didn't feel that great about freezing. We'll just feed to the chickens, but there we have it. All right, y'all, it was really that easy. Again, you can go ahead and core them if that makes it easier for you when you get ready to use them. For me, it's not really that big of a deal, especially when I'm in a hurry. I know I'm kind of planning out a day when I get ready to use these. I don't mind spending the extra time coring and doing all the other things necessary. So thank you for hanging out with me as we milked the goats, had our morning coffee, harvested. Now we're sticking some stuff in the freezer. It has been just such a joy to hang out with y'all. Nathan has left me a stack of books to sign to head out the door, so I'm about to get busy doing this. But thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to y'all soon.